The starship Serenith floated in silent orbit above the bright, cloud-covered world of Serion 5. It was one of the most respected ships in the Coalition fleet, sleek, silver, smooth as flowing water, and home to diplomats from 12 alien species. Today, it waited for something unusual. Something that had never happened before. It waited for Earth's first envoy, Captain Marcus Hale. Marcus stood inside the docking chamber of the human shuttle, straightening the collar of his dark blue uniform. He had practiced the greeting rules, the hand placement rules, and the communication rules almost 100 times. Earth's diplomats drilled him on how to speak, how to bow, how to show calmness even when confused. But nothing settled the nervous flutter in his chest. Earth was new to the galaxy. Humanity had only joined the wider star network 3 years ago, and this was the first time a human was invited to sit inside the High Council chamber of the Coalition. Marcus felt like he was stepping into history like Neil Armstrong must have felt taking his first step on the moon. But this time, it wasn't a moon waiting for him. It was an alien world full of cultures he barely understood. The airlock clamped, hissed, and opened. A warm light spilled into the shuttle, and the scent of something floral drifted in. Marcus exhaled and stepped forward. 2 Serentai escorts waited for him, tall and elegant, with smooth silver-blue skin and eyes like glowing marble. They wore long, flowing robes that made their movements seem like gentle waves. One of them bowed slightly. "Welcome, Captain Hale. The Council awaits you." Marcus smiled politely. "Thank you. I'm honored to be here." The escorts turned and led the way through the curved halls of the ship. The Serentai architecture reminded Marcus of calm rivers. Everything curved softly. Not a single sharp edge. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, and doors opened silently as they approached. He tried to walk with confidence, but every step reminded him how much was riding on this visit. Earth needed allies, trade routes, protective agreements, and Marcus, somehow, had been chosen as the person to start it all. After several turns, the escort stopped in front of a tall, shimmering doorway. It looked like it was made of liquid silver. One escort spoke gently. "Money? Before we enter, Captain, a final reminder. Do not ask personal questions to any member of the Council. It is their cultural law. Many questions that are polite to humans are extremely personal to us." Marcus nodded. "I understand. I'll be careful." They stepped through the liquid silver doorway which rippled like water but felt perfectly solid, and Marcus entered the High Council chamber. His breath caught. The chamber was enormous, shaped like a perfect circle with a glass ceiling that showed the stars outside. A large oval table sat in the middle, made of glowing crystal. Around it were seats for every species in the Coalition, each marked with symbols and small holographic flags. The room hummed softly with energy. Dozens of diplomats turned to look at him, some with eyes, some with shimmering lights, some with features he didn't fully understand. But none of them stared aggressively. Their attention was cool, curious, cautious. At the far side of the room stood Ambassador Liara, leader of the Serentai delegation. She was taller than the others, her skin a deeper silver, her robe decorated with shifting patterns like starlight. She had a calm, commanding presence that instantly made Marcus straighten his posture. Liara raised her hand in greeting, palm open. "Captain Marcus Hale of Earth, we welcome you to the Serenith and to our council." Marcus bowed slightly, the way he had practiced. "Thank you, Ambassador. I'm honored to be here." Liara nodded approvingly. "Please, join us at the table." Today's gathering begins with introductions. Marcus looked at the long table and realized something strange. There were no nameplates telling him where to sit. The Serentai escorts had left him. The diplomats all watched silently. The table stretched around him like a glowing ring of expectations, and Marcus suddenly felt a small but growing panic. He didn't want to break any rules. He didn't want to seem disrespectful. He had been told not to ask personal questions, yet he didn't know where his seat was supposed to be. On Earth, he could just ask. But was that allowed here? Was asking, "Where should I sit?" considered personal? Was it impolite? Offensive? He swallowed. His heart thumped. Every second he stood there felt like another drop of tension falling into the silent chamber. Finally, because he saw no other option, and because standing awkwardly in front of galaxy leaders felt much worse, Marcus cleared his throat and spoke in the calmest voice he could manage. "Where would you like me to sit?" And the room froze. Completely. Not a single diplomat blinked. Not a whisper. Not even the soft hum of energy felt the same. The entire room seemed stunned. Marcus felt the panic rise instantly. Oh no. What did I just do? Liara stared at him, her marble-like eyes widening. The pattern on her robe pulsed sharply. For a moment, Marcus wondered if she was offended or about to remove him from the chamber entirely. But then, slowly, she stepped forward. "Captain Hale," she said, her voice carrying an emotional weight he didn't understand. "Do you know what you have just asked?" Marcus's mouth went dry. "I hope I haven't broken any rule. I only meant—" She raised her hand gently, stopping him. "Among the Serenthai," she explained. "The question of where one should sit is not a simple matter of convenience. It is a request for alignment, a request to stand or sit beside another as a partner in discussion. It is an honor we offer only to those we trust deeply." Marcus blinked. He definitely had not meant anything that serious. To him, it was just a seating question. But saying that out loud felt risky. The ambassador turned toward the council table. Every diplomat watched with silent intensity. Liara approached her seat, the main Serenthai seat, decorated with glowing runes, and placed her hand firmly on the empty chair beside her. Then, in a voice that carried across the chamber like a command of destiny, she declared, "He will sit next to me." The chamber erupted, though not in noise. Aliens exchanged quick looks. Some whispered in their native tongues. Some tilted their heads sharply. A gesture Marcus guessed was surprise. A few even recorded the moment with small floating devices, as if this was historic. Marcus felt his stomach twist. What had he done? But Liara smiled softly at him, genuine, warm, reassuring. "Captain Hale," she said. "This is a rare honor. For a Serenthai ambassador to invite someone to sit at her side means your voice will carry weight equal to mine in this session." Marcus almost choked. Equal? To her? On the first day? She gestured for him to join her. "Come, your seat awaits." Marcus took a breath, then another. He walked forward, feeling every eye in the room following him. When he reached the seat beside Liara, he sat slowly, carefully, trying not to look as overwhelmed as he felt. The ambassador leaned in slightly and whispered, "Humans are known for courage, and asking that question—" She paused, her eyes glowing softly. "Was a courageous act indeed." Marcus swallowed, nodded, and sat up straight. Little did he know, this simple question, this spontaneous, nervous question, would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. Captain Marcus Hale never imagined that sitting in a chair could feel like standing on the edge of a cliff. Yet here he was, in the Grand Council chamber of the Serenith, sitting beside Ambassador Liara, one of the most respected voices in the coalition. Every diplomat's eyes were still on him. Every whisper seemed to circle around the meaning of Liara's decision. Marcus tried to breathe normally, but his heart wasn't listening. Across the table, a tall, four-armed Vexori diplomat narrowed her sharp yellow eyes at him. A group of small, floating orb-like creatures buzzed with soft lights, as if recording his every move. Even the stone-skinned Rorak elders, who rarely reacted to anything, leaned slightly forward. Liara noticed his tension. "Calm yourself, Captain," she said in a gentle tone. "You showed courage, even if you did not plan it." "The Council respects courage." Marcus nodded gratefully, though his palms were already sweaty. He never expected this. maybe spoken to politely, maybe asked to observe. He never imagined becoming part of the main table, much less sitting beside someone like Liara, who carried enough diplomatic power to shape star systems. A soft chime echoed through the chamber. Liara stood. Marcus followed her lead. "Let the session begin," she said. The table lit up with shimmering holograms, star maps, political symbols, energy readings from nearby sectors. The council members began to speak one by one, introducing their concerns and proposals. Marcus listened carefully. His job today was simple: observe, learn, stay quiet, unless absolutely necessary. But sitting beside Liara meant he was now part of her delegation. Their goals were tied together, their votes connected. Liara spoke first. "Honored Council," she began, her voice calm and melodic. "Today, we welcome a new presence at our table. Humanity stands at the edge of the stars, seeking cooperation, seeking knowledge, and offering partnership. Captain Hale will represent Earth alongside the Serenthai delegation for this session." The chamber shifted with murmurs. Marcus sat straighter, trying to look more confident than he felt. "Let us begin with the trade routes," Liara continued. "Sector 9 has reported." Before she could finish, a stern voice interrupted. "Wait." A tall, scaled ambassador from the Corval Dominion stood, eyes cold. "Before we discuss matters of importance, we must address the question that everyone is thinking." Liara tilted her head. "And what question is that?" "Why," the Corval ambassador hissed, "have you chosen to align yourself with a human you have only just met? This is not your custom. It is not our custom. Humans are new, unproven." Whispers grew louder. Marcus's stomach tightened. Liara didn't look offended. In fact, she looked almost amused. "Because," she replied calmly, "humans surprise us." The ambassador frowned. "Surprise is not a reason. Tradition requires trust. Trust requires time." Liara's eyes shimmered softly. "Trust also grows from boldness, from honesty, from instinct." Captain Hale showed that instinct the moment he spoke. Marcus felt heat rise in his face. She made it sound like he had done something incredible. Really? He had just panicked over seating arrangements. The Corval ambassador gave Marcus a long, slow stare. "Human, do you understand the weight placed upon your shoulders?" Marcus took a deep breath. He needed to answer carefully. "I'm new here," he admitted, keeping his tone respectful. "I don't know all your traditions yet. But I do know that Earth came here to build friendships. And if Ambassador Liara believes I can help represent that goal, then I'll do my best." It wasn't a dramatic speech, but it was honest. The chamber quieted. Liara nodded once, approvingly. The Corval ambassador sat down, though not happily. The meeting continued, shifting to discussions of resource transport, border protection, and interspecies education. Marcus listened closely, occasionally whispering to Liara whenever he didn't understand a hologram or symbol. To his surprise, she always answered patiently. She explained the star maps, the political tensions, which species were peaceful, which were cautious, and which were unpredictable. Her voice was calm, almost soothing, but also carried authority. Hours passed. Eventually, the meeting paused for a short break. Marcus stood, stretching stiffly. Counselors moved around the room in small groups, speaking quietly. Some glanced at him, curious, but not hostile. A few approached Liara, asking questions in low tones. Marcus stepped aside, not wanting to interrupt. A cheerful, round-bodied alien rolled toward him. The creature glowed a soft green and emitted small chirping sounds before a robotic translator spoke. "Hello, human. Welcome to the council. You are very interesting." Marcus blinked. Thank you." The orb bobbed excitedly. "Your question earlier. Very bold. Humans are bold. Bold is good. Bold means potential. Marcus wasn't sure if he should be proud or embarrassed. I appreciate that. I. The orb spun in place happily before rolling away. Moments later, Liara approached him. You handled yourself well, she said. Many new diplomats freeze when questioned. Marcus laughed quietly. I was freezing inside. Liara's lips curved into a soft smile. A frozen heart does not speak with such clarity. She studied him for a moment. You must understand something, she added, her voice lowering. Your place beside me changes how others see Earth. Some will welcome the change. Others will question it. Some may even fear what your species might become. Marcus frowned. Fear us? Why? Because humans evolve quickly, Liara replied. Too quickly for some species to feel comfortable. You learn fast. Adapt fast. And you carry a passion that is rare in the galaxy. Marcus wasn't sure if that was good or bad. Before he could respond, the chamber lights flickered. A deep alarm echoed through the room. The diplomats froze. What's going on? Marcus asked, eyes widening. A Sarenthai guard rushed into the chamber, breathless. Ambassador. A ship approaches no coalition identification. It ignores our warnings. Liara's calm expression sharpened. Show us. The central hologram pulsed and expanded, revealing a dark, spike-covered vessel cutting through space like a predator. Its energy signature crackled with unstable power. Several diplomats gasped. Vorn Syndic, someone whispered. Marcus felt a chill run through him. He had heard the name during briefings. The Vorn were a hostile faction operating on the edges of the galaxy. Smart, ruthless, and always seeking to disrupt peace. The guard spoke again, voice tight. They are charging weapons. They're targeting us. The chamber erupted in motion, diplomats rushing to their communication stations, guards moving into defensive positions. The calm atmosphere shattered into urgency. Marcus's instincts kicked in. What do we do? He asked Liara. She looked at him steadily. We stay calm. The Serenith has strong shields. But the Vorn rarely attack. Without purpose. Another hologram appeared, a message attempt from the Vorn vessel. Liara hesitated only for a second before accepting it. The hologram flickered. A distorted, masked figure appeared, voice broken and harsh. Serenthai vessel, withdraw your alliance proposal. Humanity must not rise. End your session, or suffer consequences. The image vanished. Marcus's heart pounded. They attacked because of him? Liara turned to him, eyes intense but not fearful. Captain Hale, she said softly. Your presence today has already shifted the balance of power. The Vorn fear what humanity and the Serenthai might accomplish together. That is why they strike now. For mining. Marcus swallowed hard. I didn't mean to cause danger. You did not, Liara replied. Fear belongs to them, not to us. The ship shook slightly, shields reacting to a warning blast from the Vorn. Guards rushed in. We must move the council to the secure chamber, one said. Liara nodded. But before she followed, she looked at Marcus. Stay close to me. The council sees you as my partner now, and partners face danger together. Marcus nodded, resolve building inside him. He had come to build peace, not attract enemies. But if humanity's courage had drawn attention, then courage would also guide him through what came next. Together, Marcus and Liara stepped toward the secure chamber, unaware that the real test of their alliance was only beginning. The alarms of the Serenith echoed through every hallway like distant thunder. Red lights pulsed along the curved walls, and a soft vibration trembled under the floor as the great starship raised its shields to maximum. Captain Marcus Hale followed Ambassador Liara as she moved quickly through the corridor, her silver-blue robes flowing behind her like a stream of light. The other council members hurried with them, some floating, some walking, some gliding, each one serious and silent. Diplomats who earlier spoke calmly now wore expressions of fear and confusion. The attack from the Vorn Syndic was unexpected, too sudden, too targeted. Marcus couldn't ignore the burning thought in his mind. They came because of me. Liara glanced back at him. Stay close, Captain. The Vorn want chaos. We will not give it to them. Marcus nodded and kept pace. He wasn't a soldier anymore, he was a diplomat. But years in the Terran Navy had taught him how to move in a crisis. Even so, this was different. Back on Earth, enemy ships didn't appear from nowhere demanding political changes. Here, in deep space, one wrong decision could ignite a war between entire species. They reached the entrance of the secure chamber, a circular door made from thick metal layers and glowing Sarenthai symbols. Guards stood on both sides, tall and elegant, but ready for danger. As the council prepared to enter, the ship suddenly shook harder this time. A loud thud echoed like a giant fist hitting the hull. Marcus stumbled, but caught himself. A guard activated a hologram. Ambassador, the Vorn have fired a focused plasma strike. Shields held, but they are testing our strength. Another diplomat, a floating orb species named Kiri, let out a fearful chirp. They never stop with warnings. More will come. Liara remained calm as ever. Then we must act quickly. The council filed into the secure chamber. The room was smaller but heavily protected. Its walls shimmered with a faint blue coating, an energy layer that could withstand even a direct blast. Inside, holographic consoles rose from the floor, showing maps, shield levels, and ship positions. Guards sealed the door behind them. Marcus turned to Liara. Before she could answer, the hologram in the center of the room flickered. A tactical officer appeared, speaking from the command deck. Ambassador, we have confirmed the Vorn Syndic has launched boarding drones. They're small, fast, and heading toward the outer hull. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Boarding drones? They're trying to get inside? Boarding drones. Yes, the officer replied. We are intercepting what we can, but several drones are too close to stop. Several diplomats gasped. Even the Rorak elder, who had barely reacted earlier, tightened his stone-like jaw. Liara's expression hardened. What is their goal? The officer hesitated. Our scans show they are targeting the council sector, Ambassador. Marcus inhaled sharply. Of course they were. The Vorn didn't want resources. They didn't want territory. They wanted political chaos, maybe even hostages. Maybe even him. Liara stepped to the center of the chamber. We must reinforce this area. Captain Hale. Come. Marcus joined her, forcing his mind to stay clear. A few diplomats stared at him with a mix of fear and uncertainty. One whispered loudly enough for Marcus to hear. Why would the Vorn care about a human? Liara replied before Marcus could. Because humans adapt, humans unite. The Vorn fear new alliances, and Earth has potential they cannot predict. Marcus felt a strange mix of pride and pressure. The galaxy was larger and more complicated than anything he had imagined. Yet somehow, humanity mattered here. Another tremor shook the room. The lights flickered. The tactical officer spoke again. Ambassador, the drones have attached to the hull. They are cutting through. Liara turned to the guards. Prepare defensive positions. Guards activated their crystal-like staffs, which glowed with soft blue energy. The diplomats backed away from the center, their faces tense. Marcus approached Liara. If they break through, what do they want? Kidnapping? Sabotage? Both, she answered. The Vorn Syndic likes to send messages, and a broken council sends the loudest message of all. Marcus clenched his jaw. Well, we can't let that happen. Liara gave him a brief, approving nod. Suddenly, a loud grinding noise echoed above them. Metal, being cut. A circular shape began to glow on the ceiling as sparks rained down. The Vorn drones were almost through. Guards formed a line, staffs pointed upward. Diplomats moved to the corners of the room. The door behind them sealed itself fully, glowing with bright runes. Marcus's heart pounded. He didn't have a weapon. He wasn't trained for this anymore. But running wasn't an option. He stepped beside Liara. She looked at him with surprise and something like respect. "You choose to stand with us?" Marcus swallowed but kept his voice steady. Before she could answer, the ceiling burst open with a brilliant flash. A small metal hatch fell to the ground, smoking. 3 spider-like Vorn drones dropped through the hole, their glowing red eyes sweeping the room. Marcus instinctively grabbed a loose metal panel that had fallen. It wasn't a weapon, but it was something. The drones emitted sharp, metallic screeches and fired thin beams of red plasma at the guards. The Sarenthai deflected them with their staffs, which created shimmering shields. But the drones were fast, too fast. One of them leapt across the room toward the diplomats. Marcus moved before he could think. He ran at the drone, using the metal panel like a shield. The drone fired a beam. Marcus raised the panel. The beam hit it with a loud crack, the metal glowing but holding. He rammed the panel into the drone, knocking it sideways. The machine screeched, losing balance. Liara used her staff to strike the drone with a flash of blue energy, disabling it. "Captain," she shouted, "on your left." Another drone leaped down at Marcus. He rolled aside, dropping the panel and grabbing an emergency tool, a long pole used for ship repairs. He swung it like a bat. The drone hissed and skittered back. "You cannot win," the drone's distorted voice buzzed through a speaker. "Human presence threatens the balance. You must fall. Whiz the one. With the one. With the one." Marcus tightened his grip on the pole. He lunged forward, jabbing the pole into one of the drone's glowing joints. Sparks burst out. The drone twitched violently, then collapsed in a heap of metal. The third drone was already engaging the guards. It was larger than the others, its red eyes glowing brighter. It released a burst of red sparks toward Liara. Marcus didn't think. He just moved. He grabbed the fallen metal panel again and leapt between Liara and the blast. The plasma hit the makeshift shield, sending a hot shock through his arm. But he kept it up, refusing to drop it. Guards rushed forward and struck the large drone with combined energy blasts. It buzzed angrily before collapsing. Silence filled the chamber. The smoke cleared. The drones were defeated. Marcus lowered the metal panel, his arm shaking from the impact. His uniform sleeve was scorched, and his hand trembled, but he remained standing. Liara stepped toward him, her expression unreadable. "Captain Hale, you risked yourself for us." Marcus took a breath. "You said, we're partners. Partners protect each other, right?" Liara stared at him for a long moment. Then she placed her hand over her heart, a Sarenthai gesture of deep respect. "Today," she said softly, "the Council saw the truth of humanity's courage." Before Marcus could respond, the hologram flickered to life again. The tactical officer looked relieved. "Ambassador, the drones are disabled. We are detaining the remaining attackers. The Vorn ship is retreating. Important. I see why say Pindens. I see why say Pindenstade. We are newsy. We have be day Pindenstade." A wave of relief passed through the room. But Liara did not relax. "This is not over," she whispered to Marcus. "The Vorn attacked for a reason. Something bigger is coming." Marcus nodded. "Then we face it together." Liara's eyes glowed softly. "Yes," she said, "together." And somewhere beyond the Serenith, the Vorn plotted their next move. The battle alarms finally faded across the Serenith, replaced by a calm hum as the starship returned to normal power. The emergency lights dimmed, and the halls glowed with their usual soft blue shine. Only a faint smell of burned metal and energy discharge lingered in the air, a quiet reminder of the attack. Captain Marcus Hale stood inside the secure chamber, breathing deeply. His arm still ached from blocking the plasma blast, and parts of his uniform were scorched. But he was alive. More importantly, every member of the High Council was safe. Ambassador Liara stepped toward him, her silver-blue eyes glowing with calm pride. "You fought with heart, Captain Hale," she said gently. "The Council owes you their lives." Marcus felt heat rise to his face. "I only did what anyone would have done." "No," Liara replied softly. "Not everyone acts with such instinct." As she spoke, other diplomats slowly approached Marcus. Earlier, they had looked at him with suspicion or confusion. Now their expressions had changed. Some showed respect, others gratitude, and a few even looked a little embarrassed for doubting him. The floating orb diplomat, Kiri, rolled up and chirped brightly. "Human. Brave human. You hit the drone with a stick. Very impressive." Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. "I didn't really have a plan." Kiri spun happily. That is what makes it good. That. A deep rumble came from the Rorok elder. It took Marcus a moment to realize the rumble was laughter. Liara raised her hand. "Council members, let us reconvene. We must discuss the next steps." The damaged ceiling had been sealed by guards, and the chamber was secure again. Slowly, the diplomats returned to their seats. Marcus expected to move back, maybe stand behind Liara, but she gently gestured to the chair beside her. "Your place," she reminded him. Marcus sat, surprised by how natural the seat now felt. The council hologram lit up. The tactical officer appeared again, this time without panic. "Ambassador, the Vorn ship has retreated to the outer edges of the system. They are not pursuing further conflict at this time." Liara nodded. "Thank you. Continue monitoring." The hologram vanished. The room fell quiet as the council waited for someone to speak. Liara stood tall. "Honored members, today's attack was not random. The Vorn Syndic fears change. They fear cooperation. They fear the potential of a new alliance forming between the Sarentai and humanity." Soft murmurs filled the room. Liara continued, her voice steady. "Their goal was to disrupt our council session, to create fear, and perhaps even to harm one of us. But they failed. Thanks to Captain Hale." Several diplomats nodded. The Korval ambassador, the one who earlier doubted Marcus, slowly rose. "I spoke harshly before," he said, voice deep and firm. "But today, the human showed qualities few species possess: quick action, self-sacrifice, and determination. These are traits worthy of respect." Marcus blinked. He hadn't expected praise from the Korval. The ambassador continued. "If the Sarentai choose to stand with humanity, then the Korval Dominion will not oppose it. Dominion. I." Marcus felt a wave of relief wash over him. One by one, other diplomats voiced their agreement. Some more formally, some with quiet nods, some with soft gestures from their own cultures. The council that once seemed uncertain now felt united. Finally, Liara placed her hands on the table, signaling for silence. "Members of the coalition," she said, "there is a decision to make today. Captain Hale did not come here to claim power or status. He came to understand, to learn, to represent his world. Yet fate has placed him in a role greater than he expected." She turned to Marcus. "When he asked where to sit, many of us saw it as a symbolic request, a desire for partnership, equality, and connection. And today, he proved that symbol true." Marcus felt his heart pound. He wasn't sure what she planned to say next. Liara addressed the entire chamber. "I propose that Captain Marcus Hale be granted the honorary status of Coalition Counselor, a special advisor, representing humanity alongside the Sarenthai delegation." This will not only strengthen Earth's presence, but also send a message to the Vorn that unity cannot be broken. The chamber went still. Then the diplomats raised their hands, some glowing with light, some shifting colors, some lifting multiple limbs. The vote was unanimous. Marcus stared, stunned. He hadn't expected this. He had come to learn, not to lead. Liara smiled at him, her calm expression softening. Captain Hale, do you accept this honor? Marcus took a long breath. The responsibility felt heavy, but something inside him felt ready. I accept, he said. And I promise I'll do everything I can to help build peace between humanity and the Coalition. Liara nodded once, approvingly. The council adjourned, and the diplomats slowly left the chamber. Even the Rorok elder placed a heavy stone hand on his shoulder, a gesture that nearly knocked Marcus off balance. When the chamber finally emptied, Marcus and Liara stood alone. He sighed. This is a lot. I didn't expect any of this. Liara studied him with warm eyes. Fate often finds those who do not seek it. Marcus laughed softly. I don't know about fate. I just asked where to sit. And that question, Liara replied, changed the direction of the council, the coalition, and perhaps the future of your world. She began walking toward the exit, and Marcus followed. The hallway outside was quieter now. Guards still stood at attention, but the atmosphere had shifted from panic to respect. As Liara and Marcus passed, the guards bowed slightly, something they had not done before. Marcus whispered, Did I really do that much? I feel like I mostly just reacted to everything. Liara shook her head gently. You acted with bravery. You acted with instinct. Humans have a gift. Marcus, a fierce spirit that refuses to step back, even in confusion. She stopped and turned to face him fully. When you sat beside me, the council wondered if humanity deserved a place here. After today, they know you do. Marcus felt emotions swell in his chest. Pride, relief, and something he didn't have a word for yet. The ship's windows showed the stars outside bright, endless, full of unknowns. Marcus looked at the glowing expanse and felt a strange sense of belonging. So, what happens now? He asked. Liara's eyes reflected the stars. Now, Captain Hale, we begin shaping the alliance between Earth and the Coalition. There will be challenges ahead. Maybe more Vorn attacks. Maybe political pressure. Perhaps doubt from those who fear change. Marcus exhaled slowly. And we face it together? Liara nodded. Together. I'm win. Two nodded. They walked side by side through the long corridor, the ship humming peacefully around them. Marcus thought back to the start of the day when he stood awkwardly in the council chamber, asking a simple question without understanding its meaning. One question. One moment. One seat. And now he was a counselor of the Coalition, representing an entire world among the stars. As the Serenith sailed across the glittering void, Marcus smiled to himself. Humans might be new to space, but they had a place here now. And no enemy Vorn or otherwise could take that away.